Two questions about parks. So I'll start with the first one. The state of our public parks are in great need of attention. Residents and frequent users of Douglas Park are denied access to their public park for approximately 3 weeks as Riot Fest hosts their over-the-top concerts for 3 years in a row. And now it will be the home for Spring Awakening, while the field house and walkways of the park are still falling apart and are not accessible. Please speak to this.
Yeah, so, when you look at city budgets, you see that the city has its budget, CPS has its budget, the parks has its budget. The parks also are run by an appointed board. So the first thing is, let's make sure that the board also is accountable to people and that we are able to get people like you to be on that board. So that way, when we look at these projects, they're not made through back deals with aldermen or through other people of the city. So that's one thing. The second part is that for me, I always see the parks as places that are great opportunities for us to provide options for young people. Not a place that could be auctioned off to the highest bidder to be able to provide campaign donations for elected officials. So again, for any use of public space, I would ban or prohibit any contribution of aldermen to receive those funds. Any opportunity that we have for public spaces to be used for the benefit of the residents, again, need to go through a community-wide process to approve when any of those entities come to the public park. And any transaction that happens between those private entities and the city representative has to be transparent and have to be banned to be able to receive any political contributions. The public parks are for the public, and any other type of opportunities that go before any public entity need to be able to be brought back for public use through an elected school board and through opportunities that benefit the families and the residents of that community.
Let me speak to Riot Fest. As Sarah and many others in this room, I was at those initial meetings when they introduced, the concept of Riot Fest coming to Douglas Park. George Cardenas cut that deal without any public input at all. The public rose up, they held their own community hearings, they were nearly united in their voice that they didn't want Riot Fest in Douglas Park. But Alderman Cardenas went ahead with it anyway. In some communities, they have what's called a community benefits agreement, where you negotiate with someone who's maybe going to do a festival or something like that to ensure that the residents are going to adequately benefit. It's called the CBA. In the 12th Ward, we don't have a CBA. We have a GCBA, the George Cardenas Benefit Agreement. And you can see it in the windfall of political donations that came to him. Listen, Riot Fest, I have nothing against the acts that are in Riot Fest. For any Generation Xers here, I'm down with the music, it's fine, right? However, right, that was inappropriate. They just got kicked out of Humboldt Park for destroying the park, so they think it's okay to come down here and destroy our park. It's just like pollution on the north side, right? The north side, they get sick of it, they fight against it, and they send it down this way. To me, it's exactly the same thing they're doing with their heavy industry. They're sending it to us because they think we're not organized and they think we're not going to fight it. In terms of Riot Fest, we're going to have community hearings and we're going to decide whether it stays or goes. And if it's going to go, good riddance, right? You can move it to a for-profit venue, not in our parks. And when it comes to heavy industry, right, we're not going to be taking the waste from the north side, right? We are going to organize ourselves. We are going to fight back, and we're going to win the 12th Ward, Little Village, Brighton Park, and McKinley Park we all deserve. Thank you very much.
Staying with the parks theme, another question asks, states first, La Vita Park still doesn't have their own budget, no field house, and at times guests don't even have access to the bathrooms. The park sits next to the collateral channel that has no signs of getting remediated. McKinley Park has an asphalt plant operating only a few hundred feet away. As an older person, how are you going to work with Chicago Public Parks, other city departments, and private companies to address these needs and these situations?
Yeah, I mean, this again is an issue of equity, where those of us that live in the southwest side usually get treated in this way because most of the resources go to other parts of the city. When you look at the capital plan of the public parks and you see where the resources are being spent, they're not being spent for us. And when you look at what is it that the aldermen are doing to ensure that we have the equal number of resources, like actually having a full-time park manager in La Villita Park, or being able to actually protect the current park that we have here, not get polluted, the alderman has a lot of power to be able to do that. So again, for me, this is an issue about equity. This is an issue about racism that those of us that live here in the southwest side, we get ignored. And for me, it's about time that we have a great opportunity to come together, Brighton Park, Little Village, and McKinney Park. And I actually want to just congratulate the neighbors for environmental justice and El Beco for bringing us together, not just in the 12th ward, but throughout the city, because this is an opportunity to come together on issues that bind us. The water we drink, the soil that we play in, and the air that we breathe, those are the things that bring us together. If we could come together to make sure that our parks and our land and our air are healthy for us and our children, we're going to be able to ensure that it's only not for us, but other residents of the city of Chicago. And that's why I'm here, and that's why I want to be able to work with you to make that happen.
I would say in terms of environmental justice fights, whether it's for our parks or whether it's for our homes that are in proximity to heavy industry, these fights are not about what one person can do, though I do think that office is an important piece of the puzzle. It's about what we can do, right? What we can do as a community. You see the full room, as Jose alluded to here tonight. It's thanks to a lot of good on-the-ground organizing by El Vejo and by Neighbors for Environmental Justice. What I would like to see in the next 4 years is that we all unite in fights against the people who are really running this city, right? Because it's not the Rahm Emanuels or Tony Preckwinkle or whoever's going to come next, right? It's the major corporations like BNSF, right, that run the Corwith intermodal facility. Calmecca School is right next to BNSF, right? And we have, and you can see on the map, some of the highest rates of particulate matter in the entire city right there, right? BNSF is owned by Berkshire Hathaway, which is owned by Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, and the third richest man in the world. Folks, we have to get it together because Warren Buffett can afford to make his diesel trucks electric trucks so that kids at Calmecca Elementary don't have to breathe diesel fumes, so that they don't have to breathe particulate matter. If Warren Buffett can't afford it, nobody can afford it. And we need electric officials that aren't going to protect Warren Buffett. We need elected officials who are going to protect the children of Calmecca Elementary and make sure they have sound respiratory health while they're trying to learn.